Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fika AI. I am your host, Allison Cosette. I'm very happy to be here with Ed Marquez, who is joining us at the AI conference today, and you're associated with Hashgraph and Hedera that we've been talking about earlier today. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what you folks are working on these days?
Absolutely. Hey everyone, Ed Marquez here, representing Hedera, working at Hashgraph. And Hedera is a layer 1 open source blockchain. We are decentralized and open source, as I mentioned, and there are two key distinctions when it comes to Hedera, one around governance, one around technology. So if we think about governance, we are governed and operated by a council of global organizations where you have companies like Google, Boeing, IBM, Dell Technologies, Hitachi, and many more doing the governance, operating the nodes for the network, and also building use cases in many instances. And then if we think about the technology side, we have a next generation consensus algorithm that introduces benefits around scalability, performance, cost, that makes it really attractive to build large scale applications. And so we're just here at the conference educating about blockchain technology, but more importantly about how people can use blockchain for their AI development.
So what is the application that you think is, how would someone know that they need you? What would be an indicator that like, oh, if they only had Hashgraph and they were only using Hedera, everything they're trying to do would be so much easier? How might someone recognize themselves in this problem?
Anything where you want to remove any trust assumptions. So if you want to have data that is integral or a process that needs to be transparent and auditable, that's where you think blockchain, that's where you think Hedera. So in the case of AI, one problem that is going to become more prevalent is the emergence of new models that maybe are derivatives of open source models. So if I'm creating Ed GPT from Llama 2, and I throw in my tokens, my data, my code, my parameters, then I tell you the model does something. How can you verify that?
Right.
If I'm able to anchor that and prove that through a blockchain, then that's a use case that would be very valuable for this LLM development.
So in that case, are you talking about tracing the origination of the training data in Ed GPT or Ed's LLM, or are you talking about actually tracing, some sort of research validation metrics, or like what's actually happening transactionally?
Yes, all of the above.
All of the above.
You can, have integrity for your data sets that go into the training of the model, but if any new parameters, any new training data are added to that development process, you can anchor that individual piece on the blockchain. And so just to give you an example, a concrete example is what Climate GPT has done. They actually started from Llama 2 and they developed this Climate GPT model that is like a chat GPT for climate data to help companies and organizations come up with climate change strategies. And so they anchored each one of those pieces, the new training data, the new model, parameters that they wanted to throw in there, they anchor that on the Hedera consensus service. And so when we think about data integrity, it all comes down to hashing the data, right? If you're able to hash your data, Hashgraph, if you're able to hash your data, then when you write that hash on the blockchain, that gives you the guarantee that your data matches what you have on the blockchain. And if that hash changes, then you know that the data won't be able
something
to
isn't lining up.
Something is,
So obviously in this case, we're talking about like very public, transparency, and we're talking about something public like a Climate GPT. If someone's working in an enterprise, does that mean that they don't need what you guys are working on? Is that a dumb question?
I'm not sure I understood it.
So my question is, and again, like, forgive me if I'm not understanding the technology, but my understanding is that with the blockchain, everything is transparent and public, right?
Yep.
And obviously in something like Climate GPT, it's a very public model. The understanding of what data went into it is very public. But if I'm working in a proprietary setting, how does what you do relate to me?
Understood. That's a fantastic question.
Better question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with public blockchains, you can have a hybrid approach, right? So basically the results can be public, but maybe your data needs to remain private. So you can have a hybrid architecture where you could use, say, a private network like Hyperledger Fabric to keep the things that you want to keep private, you keep them to the relevant parties, and then the actual consensus that is happening, you can use the Hedera consensus service as the engine to keep those computations and those results public. And we're also exploring ways to have private Hedera networks that maybe speak to the public network. So I think it's certainly something that we want to see enabled, because we understand that enterprises, even governments, care about data privacy and data sovereignty as well. And so, you can have certainly hybrid architectures with these public networks.
So I'm also really curious about the consensus algorithm, because I know I was talking with someone earlier about blockchain, and they're saying, well, for data validation, you don't necessarily need all the bells and whistles that come with blockchain. So is what you're doing sort of like pared down, and that's what makes the consensus algorithm work better, or like what's happening there?
So the consensus algorithm is next generation because of some key innovations that the CTO and co-founder came up with.
Yes.
So one of them
trade secrets on their consensus algorithm.
Yeah, so one of the secrets is gossip about gossip. The other one is virtual voting. So gossip about gossip just distributes the information in an exponential way across all the nodes. Virtual voting means that there's no real need to send ballots for votes across the internet. Because in that gossip about gossip piece, there are two key pieces of information that basically tie it all together. And it's two hashes that make it all possible. And so, that's the magic and the math that is happening that makes the consensus algorithm so scalable and so efficient.
I love it. What brought you to this? Like, why do you get really excited about this?
I think this has the potential, just like AI, blockchain and AI have the potential to touch so many areas, to make business more efficient, to bring verticals into the 21st century, like the financial sector. And so
hospitals, they're always dragging along.
Absolutely. So when I first learned about blockchain, I saw an opportunity to learn about this cutting-edge technology to make business workflows and business processes better, and hopefully have an impact, improve lives. I think blockchain also has the potential to increase access to financial opportunities for many, right? When we think about the unbanked in many areas of the world, with blockchain technology, all you need is a mobile device and an internet connection to be able to participate in these new opportunities around DeFi or maybe tokenized assets for investments. And so I think there's huge potential to improve lives, to improve business processes, and the fact that it's great technology just makes it more fun.
I love that. I haven't heard that term specifically myself, unbanked, but I think that's so important, because when we think about what the impacts are of what we're doing, there's so many opportunities that we can now provide, like through this edge technology. So I just love that you brought that up. I think that's great. Let me ask you this, Ed. When you look towards the future of AI, you've talked a little bit about what you're looking forward to, but is there anything else that you're either really excited or curious about or concerned about?
I'm an optimist when it comes to technology, so I'm super excited. I think AI is here to stay. One of the things, if we go into the low-level granular details, one of the things I'm really excited is how can we bring more transparency into the inference process of models? I've been having incredible conversations throughout the conference. We're not there yet, right? It's very difficult to understand what the model,
especially in Gen AI,
is thinking, how it's coming to a specific decision. But we need more visibility, more transparency, and more auditability around that process of decision making and inference for models. So very excited there. But when we think about the applications of AI, I'm very excited around the opportunities for education, right? AI and education, and also how AI can speed up development of new technologies, right? Whether it's new blockchain protocols, new innovation for blockchain, or even in genomics and many more areas where AI can be a great addition.
I love your optimism. That's why I ended up here too, because I love living in this time, right? I love living in this place where there's so much that is possible now that wasn't, 5 years ago, much less 10, 15, 20, right? Ed, thank you so much. I loved learning about Hedera and what y'all are doing at Hashgraph. Where can people find you? If they're curious and want to know more, where should we send them?
I would say the first place to stop by is X. If you go to Hedera or find at Hedera, you will be able to follow that account and stay up to date with all the details, all the news, and everything that is happening in our ecosystem. Another great place to learn about Hedera is hedera.com.
Hedera.com.
You're going to find everything you need in that spot.
Excellent. Ed, thank you so much for your time. It was really great to meet you. Hope the conference has been as good for you as it has been for us. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time.